This week's lab, we're going to be covering cattle color inheritance. So for cattle color, we are going to go over 8 major loci. The first locus we're going to look at is the extension locus. So this locus determines whether an animal will have a red or black background for their hair. So here we have a red Angus, and he has little e at the extension locus. So that's giving him the red coloration on his base hairs. And here we see a red Angus cow, so she is also little e to get that red coloration. And for this black cow, she has 2 red calves, so we know they have to be little e, and she has to have at least 1 big E to make her that black coloration. And we know she's a heterozygote because she has 2 red calves, so she is big E, little e. And in this picture, we see a red steer, so we know he has to be little e to have those red hairs as his base color. And then he's in a field with some black steers, so we know they have to have at least 1 big E. And here we see a black heifer, so we know that she has to have at least 1 big E at her extension locus to give her the black hairs. And for this black cow, we know she has to have at least 1 big E, and there is some variation in the way that the animal is going to look depending on the time of the year. So here we see she has a slick coat, and in this previous heifer, she had a longer hair coat. So the way they look does vary throughout the year. Another allele that's present at the extension locus is E+. So order of dominance for our extension locus is big E, E+, and then little e. So E+, gives you a red coloration like you see here in this red Brahmin. And then big B, this causes them to have a black nose, feet, and tail. So here you see the black nose, black at the feet and on the tail. And also another locus that we're not going to cover, or you won't be asked about in this class, that is present in our cattle is the agouti locus. So for our agouti locus, we can have 2 little a's, so homozygous little a, or a big A, and whenever they're homozygous little a, that gives them this shiny black nose like you see here, and see how the black comes all the way down to the bottom, and then it gives them the black tipped ears. So this one here would be homozygous little a, and then if they have 1 big A, they're not going to have that deep pigmentation. So this one in the back does not have little a, so you can see how the black doesn't come all the way down to the end of the nose, and also there's no black tips on the ears. So here again we see a red Angus bull, so we have E+, giving us that red base color, and then big B, that causes the black nose, feet, and tail. And here we have another red Brahmin. So this one would not be homozygous little a, so you can see how the black doesn't come all the way down to the end of the nose, and also there's no black on the tips of the ears. And again, E+, giving us the red base color, and big B, giving us the black nose, feet, and switch, which you can't see very well on this one. And here's another red Brahmin bull. So we have E+, giving us the red color, big B, giving us the black nose, feet, and switch. And on this one, he is most likely little a. So you see how the black comes all the way down to the nose. There's some black tips on his ears. He also has a black ring around his prepuce, and the black on the scrotum as well. And here we have our gray Brahmin. So for this class, if it just says Brahmin, it always means that it is a gray Brahmin, and red Brahmin will always be called red Brahmin. So for our cattle, we have a little bit of a difference compared to our horses and what makes them gray. So little g for our cattle is what gives them the gray color. And remember, for horses, it's when they had 1 big G, it would make them gray. But for cattle, it is little g that causes them to have that gray coloration. So we have E plus E plus, so this animal would be red, but since it has two little g's, it makes it gray. And then we have big B, so black nose, feet, and tail. And here we have a Nellore, so similar thing going on. We have E plus, but since it has two little g's, that causes this animal to gray out, and then two big B's causes it to have a black nose, feet, and tail. And here we have a Brahman bull. So this one is also most likely little a. So you can see how the black on the nose comes all the way down. It has the black tipped ears. It has a black ring around the prepuce. It also has black on the scrotum. So this one is little a. And again, you will not be asked about that in this class. Here again, we see a gray Brahman bull. This one has some dappling on it, but it's E plus with two big B's and two little G's. So without those two little G's, so at least one big G, it would have been red with a black nose, feet, and tail. But since it has two little G's, it's going to be gray. Here again, we see a Brahman. So here we have a Brahman cow. She has E plus and two big B's, but since she has two little G's, she will gray out. So seeing that picture of that Brahman bull again, so again, he's little a, giving us that black pigmentation all the way down to the nose and on the tips of the ears and on the scrotum, and a ring around the prepuce. And here, this one most likely has at least one big A at his agouti locus. So you can see he doesn't have the black tips on the ears, and his nose isn't as shiny as the previous bulls. And so similarly to our horses, whenever our cattle are born, they're born their base color, but then they eventually gray out. It is a quicker process in cattle than it is in horses. So this one here is born red, but it will eventually turn gray because it has two little G's. Here we see another picture of some calves that are born red, but they are going to gray out due to the two little G's in their genotype. So here's a picture of a cow that was originally born red, but it did gray out and it's almost completely done graying. You can see that it still has a little bit of red on the top line, but for the most part, she is a gray cow at this point. And this picture shows the progression of graying out. So here we see our calf at 1 day old. So he has the genotype to be red, but as it gets older, it slowly starts graying out due to the little G's. So you can see the gray coloration around its eyes here. You can see the circles of the gray color getting bigger, and then it spreads along to its sides. And you see here, the coloration of gray is expanding more around the eyes. And then at a 4.5-month-old, it's almost completely grayed out. It does still have the red along the top line. And then by 7 months, there's just a little bit of red on its top line. And here again, showing the progression. So we see this animal at 6 weeks old, so almost completely red. And then by 4 months, it's almost completely gray. So there is still some red along the hocks and on the top line. 6 months old, it's almost completely gray. A year old, there's might be a little bit of red here. That could also be dirt. And then here we see at 26 months old, it's completely grayed out. And then this is just showing you the differences in the winter coat. So you can see the longer hairs. And then this is it with its fall coat. All right, so this picture shows a Brahman Angus cross. So she has one big E, so she's going to be black. She is big B, little b, and big G, little g. So since she has at least one big G, she will not be gray.